Welcome back, guys. It's Drone Poison here. Thanks for dropping in on the channel. This week we're going to be dropping the build video, so hang tight and I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to smash that subscribe button, and if you feel like supporting me, there's a Patreon link down below. But we're going to go ahead and get into this build video. I am using some used parts out of another build. I'll have to unsolder some wires and resolder some wires and get it set up the way that I want. I wasn't for sure if I was going to run an 03 in it or not. It is set up for an 03, so I went ahead and actually ordered the 03 unit and I mounted it in. As far as components, we're going to have the frame, of course, the 03 camera system, and we're going to be going and rocking the swords. These are 2207 swords from Flyfish RC, and these are the 2050K V2207s. They are a beautiful motor. They are the lower end as far as cost goes of their brand. They say it's using all the same aluminum and whatnot, and supposed to be basically like the same build quality, just budget. These are a two-piece. The flashes are considered unibell, one piece. That's what we're gonna be rocking as far as motors go. And the ESC, I've got an old sacrificial one out of another drone. That is an old Diatone Mamba F60 Pro. And I also have an old Holy Bro F7 with the MPU 6000 in it, and I will be running ELRS. This is the setup that we're going to be rocking in here. It's nothing fancy. I also will have a buzzer on board. I have spent the last few days intently modifying and designing and printing different TPUs that I want to use in this thing. Dallas has been great. He has a lot of files that are available, but you know, not all minds think exactly alike when they think of a layout. Some are better and some are worse, but for everybody, they like something a little different. So I started off with TPU protection for my LiPo, which I always like to run. So I printed that up, and Dallas, he actually hooked me up, and I have these things still in here. Right here. Let's see, let's pop these out so you guys can get an idea. So I test fit these all up. He designed them, I printed them, and I thank you, Dallas, for designing the STL on that. And these actually hold these, I think he's calling them X3s, spacers right here. And so they just go in there and they hold your countersunks on the outside so that you'll never lose a skid out in the field unless you lose your screws. I think that's a pretty cool little design. Printed those up. I also printed a little session mount, which I'm not really happy with. I was trying a different one and I just think it was kind of flimsy, so we're gonna redo that. It's got an XT60 holder here, and then he had the capacitor with a spike absorber mount on the back side here, and I just removed that and I put on a LiPo buzzer so that you can mount this and then have your LiPo buzzer and everything right in between your standoffs and your XT60. Then on the bottom side, I have an antenna mount for my Radio Master antenna that will go underneath on the 20x20 in the rear under the DJI. It's going to be on the bottom side. And then I also wanted to do a custom little receiver holder, so I'll put this in the rear standoffs, not in the very rear, but the second from the rear. And then we'll just put the receiver in there, clip it on, and then my antenna will come out the back and down the bottom, and boom shakalaka, we should be good. That's pretty much the components that we're going to be using today, and nothing too impressive. I'm hoping to have really good experience with these sword motors. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these motors on. If you guys are looking for motors, I can highly recommend the Flash 2406s from Flyfish RC. They have been phenomenal. The swords are gonna be something new I'm trying, so we're gonna see how that goes. All right, guys, there we go. We got the motors installed. They're all nice and fresh, and we're gonna go ahead and take this top plate off. I'm gonna remove this 03 air unit, and I'm going to actually stick in this receiver on the bottom. We're gonna put it like right there on these 20x20 right here. We're gonna put them in there and call that good. Okay, so we're gonna put those aside. So for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fit it into here, and I'm gonna run, actually I'm gonna flip this over. I'm gonna run this up through here, and it's gonna go onto my receiver like so. It'll be plugged in there like so, I do believe. Let's double check. We're gonna strip this off and make sure that we are not setting ourselves up to do it the wrong way or for failure. And I'm gonna put radio antenna on it. So this thing looks like it does go like this. The wires come out there, closes up there. Boom shakalaka, seal it up. So it's gonna fit like so. Clip in there like that. I'll bring the wire around on this side, and then I will connect it, the UFL. So I'm gonna bring it up around and like so, I do believe. Just like that, and then connect it in there, clip. And I think that's gonna be money. Basically, I'm just looking for some screws at this point that I can fit through the bottom here, and that will work with the frame. So I did that. I think I'm going to put the head of it underneath here, and then put the nut on the bottom, and the rubber should help hold it. I just want to make sure the depth is going to be enough here. We'll see if we can make it work. Hopefully it will go okay. Is that the spot that I want it? Right there? I think so, huh? That'll work. Come on, Betsy. There we go. Boom. Basically just like that, guys. So we made sure that we put our O3 screws in first, and then put these guys on top, ran them down through the top of the plate, and then we put our nuts on, and we put some Loctite on there, and we've got everything tightened up pretty dang good, locked up on there, and we're off to the races now. The next step that we're gonna do is we're gonna do some fitment for the ESC, and we're gonna just go ahead and see how we can fit this bad boy in here. We got some O-rings here that we will be using. Either O-rings, or I have spacers that I a lot of times like to use. I just want something to keep the ESC off the metal and make sure that there's plenty of clearance. And that actually looks pretty freaking nice right there. Just kind of want to pre-fit everything and get an idea where it's all gonna go, so that way I'm not shooting myself in the foot later when things don't line up. I always like to really plan out my builds as best as possible. I know you can't always identify every issue that's going to come up, but if you have a good idea, you know, and you prepare, then you can kind of avoid a lot of situations that might happen. Let's see here, is this going to fit now? I have that right there, that ESC. I'm thinking it's not going to fit. I might be able to finagle it, but it looks really, really tight. let's go ahead and get this out of here. We're gonna fire up the iron, and we're gonna pull in our stand here and get a better idea of what we're doing here. So, like so. Put a little bit of flux on here, wetting it up some. Fire up the solder. Clean off this iron. Nice and fresh. Get some fresh solder on there. Let's see what we can do here. We're gonna have to put quite a bit of heat to this thing, I think. Okay, got one off. Not bad. All right, we kind of got an idea now what distance we're gonna have, because we're not gonna have anything on there. We'll set this side. Bring our frame back in here. This back down. Yeah, that's not going to go that way for sure. This way. Okay, I think we can get that to work. And then we're going to have this guy. Really thinking about how everything's going to get laid out, and it definitely has a lot of room to work with. It's just like anything, you have to figure out how you're going to do it, you know. Normally I don't solder ESCs while they're in the frame, like almost never, but the way this is kind of going to go, it's like very minimal clearance, so I almost think it's kind of like a necessity to do it this way. I'm all about using flux, guys. If you guys aren't using flux and your soldering joints aren't turning out fresh and clean, well, that's why. Trying something totally different, guys. This is not how I'd normally build a build, but I mean, it's how I'd normally build a build. It's just maybe not how I'd solder it up and how I would fit it, you know, typically. right about there. I think this stuff is like fine and dandy and all, but really kind of a pain in the butt. When it comes down to it, having the convenient little holders and this and that, but it's like then they all got to go in at the same time. They got to all slide down with the ESC and all these little bits and bobs and pieces, and it all has to work perfect. You got to make sure everything's just right, spot on. So now we'll bring back in our stand here, put our ESC on here. Now what we're going to do is try to basically right here we're going to build up a little bit, and right here we're going to build up a little bit to attach our capacitor to. Let's go ahead and clean that off a little bit better there. Fresh solder on there. Just gonna go like in and out, get a nice little bulb going. Oh no. I'm not for sure it's gonna work or not, but we will try to see. Hopefully it's gonna be good. Man, it's a tight fit. Now we just need to check and make sure there's no shorts. Yeah, it looks good so far. All of our FETs look good. So far we look pretty good. Right, and then from there we're gonna go ahead and screw this back down. And we'll see how the flight controller is going to set on here. I think it's going to go backwards. So like so. And then we'll do this. This. One more. And I got the red guys here. And I think that's pretty much going to be it. All right, next step, we're going to go ahead and work on getting these motors soldered up. All right, I've got some T-Maniacs race wire. Love this stuff, works great. Have never had an issue with it. The pads are a little bit close together. That's the only downfall. So when you're soldering them, you have to be very cautious to make sure you don't short any of them out. We're gonna go ahead and pre-tin these. We'll line them all up real quick, get them all pre-tinned, and then we'll jump to putting some glue or some tape on them. Jump on getting these guys started up. 1, 2, 3. All right, we got that there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these pads off. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just gonna cut everything. Just cut them like so. We'll go ahead and strip these back. I'm gonna go ahead and stick these on, get them on, and then we'll know more as far as what we're aiming for when it comes to where the actual motor wire needs to be put in place, you know? No, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but basically I'm just putting the bad boy on there, and I'll just cut right along so, and we can just trim it, you know, like boom, get them right to the edge, like perfect. And I'll just do that repeatedly for each one so they have a perfect little strip on the back. TeamManiacs.com, you guys can get race wire and other products there too. They got frames and other gear as well. Some good guys. Check them out. It's a little motto. They're like, check them out. All right, and then on these guys, I'm just gonna stick them right back in there, I believe. That'll work for me. Sometimes I like to take a heat gun and heat them up a little bit, and make them stick really. I love having race wire on my quads, man. When you have to change a motor out in the field, it makes it so much faster. Like, I'll never go back to not running race wire. I mean, unless there's like something, just like so. We're gonna start with the ESC side. So that one. This one might get cut a little bit. That one might get cut a little bit. So and I always just use the width of the head of the snips to freaking measure my cut distance that I'm gonna pull back the case off of. And then I'll just come in real quick and I'll this tip, pre-tin each one of these wires. Make sure you got nice and all the way through. And then what I like to do, hit it with the flux. Come in with these guys and we'll just start walking across them. Like that, we got our freaking motors wired up and ready to rock. Now we just have the rest of this mess to freaking deal with, and then we'll be good to go. I only have one issue, and that really is getting these wires to reach all the way up to the front. That might be a problem. I'm hoping it's not going to be that big of an issue. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this antenna off here and get our wires routed and mounted into the O3 air unit. I do think this thing's gonna be pretty sexy and pretty nice little setup once we get everything situated. We're gonna leave this off for now, but basically I think it's gonna just go something like this. I'm gonna try to get this JST connector back in. All right, so she's plugged in. You guys will wire up yours as needed. I guess it definitely could go like so. And we could wire that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these guys, I think, to go ahead and put some space between the ESC and the stack, so I can run these ESC wires across and over to the other side here. So what we're going to do is just pop these guys in here. Boom. Shaka Laka. Doing these builds and stuff is not the easiest when it comes to trying to finagle cameras and lighting and being able to see everything and keep the cameras happy. And I just want you to understand that I'm trying to do the best I can until I get like a better studio set up. I'm just trying to make do with what I got, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. They'll get better, guys, I promise. Okay, so we're looking like that so far, and this guy's not going to reach, obviously, so we're going to go ahead and we'll resolder this. We'll extend the wires. We're on T1 and R1, and we've got ground voltage RX TX, it looks like. Yellow on the outside. We're basically just going to take all these clips right here, and we're going to just cut everything off like so. Use our fingernails to pinch and strip those so that their wire is exposed. Then we'll just set them over here and get them tinned up. Let's get that clean. Just like so. Get them tinned. And then we're gonna go ahead and get back to soldering them back onto the receiver. We've got some flux on there already. And we're gonna start with black. Our red. And our white. And our yellow. All right, so we got that. So it's gonna go in there just like so. Snaps right in there, and the antenna is gonna actually come across. We'll go ahead and take it out real quick. But it's gonna snap onto here like that. We'll bring it across and through. You want to make sure that you stay away from your bind button. It's gonna come across like so, and this is gonna come up here, pull tight, and snap onto that plug right there, like so, and like so. So now that receiver is like locked up right there. Boom. So this is my little receiver pocket here, man. It's just gonna basically push down like so and just hang tight right there. And that's like freaking it, man. As far as the receiver wires go, probably wrap these guys up like so and put those like so. Bring them up here. Gonna drive me nuts if it's not done just right. So I'm gonna pull each wire out. I'm gonna measure it. I'm gonna cut it independently. So there's that. We're going to look at English for the O3 connection. So I need 4 wires. I do not need brown and yellow on this, so we're going to remove brown and yellow. Brown and yellow are going to come out. So we'll take this clip right here and we're going to pop up these little pins, and we're going to take out this brown and yellow ribbon. And what I like to do is I just like to take my tweezers, kind of pinch the wire that I want out, and then I'll just pop this underneath that edge and pry it up a little bit and then pull, and that one will come out. Same with this, I just go underneath there, pry it up, pop it out, and then I'll just push them back down. And then those are going to go back in, pop it in, come up here, pull this all nice and tight. We're going to take brown and yellow out, pop that up. We'll take them out of this end as well. We have to tie into the other clip. What we're going to do is we're just going to take these guys, we're going to cut them. We'll strip them. And we're going to get some heat shrink. And we're going to go in and out, and we're just going to tin these really lightly, really fast. We're going to avoid trying to put any heat in that wire because we don't want that heat shrink to shrink yet. And then I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to do my little red to red. Quick connect there. White to white. Black to black, gray to gray. Give them each a little tug, make sure they're on there good. And then we'll just slide up this heat shrink and we'll take it over the heat gun, heat them up. Okay guys, we're halfway there. We're more than halfway there. So now I need to go back to my chart here on the O3, and my red is going to be the power. This first tab is my power VDD. So on this guy right here, it's going to plug in like so. So this first tab, that first hole right there is going to be my power. So I want my red to go in there. That. And locks in, yep. So red's right there, that's the top one. And then the next one is gonna be ground, which that is the black. And there's my ground. And then we have pin 3, white, and that is the RX that goes to the TX. So that is the next one. So we got 1, 2, so RX, white is RX going to TX. And that means the gray is going to be your TX going to RX. And we want to double check. R1 is the next pin. So we are good. Give them all a nice little check there. And on these guys, I'm just going to twist them up. And then I'm going to put them out of the way a little bit and tuck them down in here and plug them in. So we've got our O3 in. We've got our flight controller connected. The last thing we're going to set up is the buzzer. Black is going to be our ground. red is going to be buzzer plus, so that's going to go to a 5 volt, and then buzzer minus goes to buzzer minus. So we got Z is going to be our negative, 5 volt is going to be our positive, and ground right here is going to be how we're all set up. I think I'm just going to shove it through the bottom here, out the back side, right, like so. And so we're going to cut these. We're just going to go ahead and tin them now. And we'll go ahead and tin these pads as well. Tin the ground over here. 5 volt. I'm going to turn these guys around here. Buzzer negative, which is going to be the yellow. Positive is going to be the red. And our ground. There we go. And I think that's pretty much a wrap, guys. We just need to button everything up and test it all out. Okay, we're gonna do the final power up inspection before we actually do the power up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the antenna on, fully seated, and also get the other standoffs mounted back up for that capacitor and fully seated as well. Get that one started, and let's get this one in there. And that's the final buttoned up chingadera that you're gonna see on a day-to-day basis right there, guys. Like so. And we're gonna run a test real quick with the meter. So we'll test our negative is negative, yes. And that negative is negative over here. Here. And there's nothing shorting out. There. There, what we have around there. Good. I think we're good. I mean, everything looks good. As long as everything's good, you know, it's like it's either good or it's not good. But we're gonna go ahead and do a test plug-in and see if we get initial power up. That's good. And the beeper's working. There we go. As far as I'm concerned, it's time for like a top plate. Some straps. Boom shakalaka. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching my video and just chilling and with me and watching me make a mess of everything over here. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out and to the end. If you guys like this build, there's going to be a link down below. If you guys want to support me, you can help me out on Patreon. It's going to be a link down below. There'll be a link down to Flyfish as well for their product as well. They've got great motors and great frames if you guys want to check them out as well. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting this thing in the air and ripping it up and showing you guys the footage. Look out for that review, and also don't forget to enter in the giveaway. If you guys haven't entered yet, make sure you drop a comment. It'll be the first video, this video, and the third video. Whoever comments in those 3 videos, basically I'm going to put into a poll or a pool, and I'm going to draw a winner for the frame. So you guys have a good one.